Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you wherever you may be. My name is Sam, and this is By Hook or By Needles. And as you can see, I've got another 10 hopefully inspiring patterns for you. This time it's knit. It's 10 knit blankets. Now I know what you're thinking. Knit blankets will take forever. Yes and no, it really depends. If I'm knitting a blanket, I like to try and use an 8-ply generally, which is a DK or 3-weight, but some of these are using thicker yarn than that, so it would be a little bit quicker, the process. Some of them are using different techniques than the others. There's some techniques that are the same for a few of them, because that's just the type I like. And also there's a couple of scrap buster type blankets in there that you might feel obliged to have a look at. So the first one on my list is called Butterflies and Angels Mo Knit. Now I'm not sure whether the Mo Knit part refers to the fact that it's knit with mohair. I don't think it is knit with mohair. It is knit with a 10-ply, and it's showing you there that it's actually reversible. I would not knit this in an Aran weight or a 4-weight. I would knit this in probably an 8-ply at the thickest, because I would do this as double knit so that it's reversible. The second one I've got is from Stephen West. I've really gotten into Stephen West lately. I really enjoy his brioche stuff, so there's a few brioche blankets here because, yeah, I'm not going to lie, I do like brioche. Whether or not it likes me is another thing, but I have lots of lifelines and that helps the process. So this is what the blanket looks like. It is actually called the Flying Foxtail Blanket. And you can use any 2 colours you need or want, and they would have to be 2 colours because it is a 2-colour blanket. It's knit with brioche style with 2 colours. So unless you know how to convert a 2-colour to a 1, which I don't, you would need 2 colours. And it's great because it is reversible, except for, like you see here, you've got the dark blue being sort of dominant. You know, it's showing you the stripes, and the lighter colours sort of in the background. Well, if you reversed it, it would be the opposite. The light colour would be, you know, the stripes, and the darker colour would be in the background. So that's the beauty of knitting brioche. Everything you knit in brioche will be reversible, and that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy it. And I've just gotten rid of that. I'll get that back later. Okay, the next one is also a Stephen West. It is also, excuse me, hang on a minute, sorry. It really never fails. As soon as I put a camera on, my voice wants to play up on me. Anyway, the next one is also a Stephen West, and it is also brioche, but it's a little bit different. It's brioche and normal. Now, he is suggesting that you use fingering yarn held together, which he claims equals a worsted 10-ply, you know, or an Aran weight. That is not the information I've been given from woolen mills. Woolen mills generally tell me that if I have 2 4-plies together, that's the next ply up from fingering, which would be an 8-ply. You put 2 8-plies together, and I'm told that would be a 10-ply. It goes up in 1 ply size. So 2 3-weights would be 1 4-weight, 2 4-weights would be a 5-weight, and so on and so forth. But I'm not going to argue with that. I wouldn't use 2 fingering weights together, but that is where you get the mild, gosh, I had to speak with an American accent to say some of these words. Marled. Colours you can see are there, but in between the brioche is just plain knitting. And this is sort of like a bit of a scrap blanket, because you could definitely use, if you wanted to use two colours held together, you could use, sock yarn that is going begging. It's almost in a log cabin style, and like I say, it's knitting and brioche. It's the brioche is separated by just normal knitting, so, but it uses a lot of yarn too. It uses close to, I'm just looking, it looks close to 9,000 yards. It is a big blanket though. Keep in mind, it is a very big blanket, and brioche will use a little bit more than normal. And of course, I think when he says 9,000 yards, he's counting the 2 4-plies, okay, as individual yardage. So keep that in mind. But link is in the description box. Yet another brioche one. This one is not a Stephen West. This one is called Brioche Station Blanket, and it is by Rana Cross, and it's showing you both sides there. You can see the lighter side, it's showing you that's one side, and the darker side is the reverse side. So that's what happens when you knit with brioche. It is fairly easy to knit brioche, but it takes a bit of reconfiguring. I find if I go from brioche to normal knitting, I have a bit of trouble for a little while, and vice versa. I think if I was just to only ever knit brioche, I would find it very difficult to sort of go back. But it's a lovely blanket again. And with brioche as well, you've got to remember that these are double thicknesses. Like they double up the thickness of the actual piece. This is knitted in an 8-ply, which is probably as thick as I would go, like I say, for anything brioche at all. And yeah, we have another brioche. Sorry, the other stuff's coming. I promise you, it is coming. This one is called Friendland Blanket or Shawl. And my voice is driving me nuts. This is by Rana Cruz, the same person who did the previous one. And as you can see, she's used two fairly neutral sort of colours there, but it still comes out very stunning, and she's used a different pattern there in the brioche, and and added tassels and that sort of thing. I think basically she says if you wanted to, she's used a sport weight, a 5-ply for this, and she says if you want to make the shawl, if you want to make it as a shawl, you fold it in half. I don't know if I would do that, because then that would be really thick. Even as a 5-ply, that would be quite thick. But then again, I guess if you're really cold, it would be very, very wanted. The next one is called Go-Go Throw. Now, the Go-Go Throw is knit in fingering, and I love it. It is really, really different. It looks a little bit like crochet. It is not crochet. It is knit. It is knit with a fingering weight yarn in a chevron type style, which is also a lacy sort of stitch. Without having seen the pattern or looked at the pattern, I'm going to say it's one of those yarn over knit two together type of lace works. It's going to be very repetitive, it's going to be very samey, but it's going to give you beautiful lacy results. It is another one, I guess, you could almost use scraps upon. They'd have to be large amounts of scrap, not small, but it's certainly something you could sort of work on bit by bit. Oh, that's what I was going to show you too. I had to dig that out before the end. I'm actually knitting one of these as I speak. This next one is a mosaic. Oop, and I haven't put, hang on. It's called Christmas, no, it's called Chiming something. Chiming Bells Christmas Blanket. And it has a cushion to match. Now this has been knit using, carrying the yarn at the back, using a DK, an 8-ply, 3-weight. I would probably tend to stick with that, but I'd probably try and do it as a, what they call double knitting. Double knitting doesn't mean, double knitting has two meanings. You say double knit, that is an 8-ply yarn. Double knitting is not knitting with, well, it is also, knitting with an 8-ply because that's what it is, but double knitting is knitting the front and the back at the same time, and the image is reversed. It's like a negative. The back is a negative of the front. It's reversed. So it takes twice as long to make. It is twice as thick, but it is completely and totally reversible, which I'm guessing this one wouldn't be because it is carrying the yarns across the back. So once again, if I were to do this, I would have to do it in double knitting, which would take a small lifetime, but it would be worth it just to get the reversibility of it all. There's another scrap blanket. This one was quite popular, and I think they might have even made a crochet version. This is quite a popular pattern last year or maybe the year before. It's called Northeasterly, and it's created by Shenanigans, oh, you know what I mean. It's like shenanigans and skeins. Anyway, as you can see, it's made in, you can see it because you can see the knitting needles there. It is made in small sections, and then the sections are, added as you go along, or you can sew them on later. I'd be more inclined to just add them as I go along. So what you would basically do is when you got to the end of this row, or the beginning of the row, you would join the stitch on that and the stitch on that together, and you would get the join. But you could just as easily crochet them or sew them together at the end. Once again, great idea for a scrap blanket. It's saying to use fingering. You could use fingering or any sort of weight really that you wanted. Once again though, I like the idea of just using scraps, and I would probably use 8-ply because I just have an abundance of 8-plies. Okay, the next one is one that we've probably all seen, and I've actually bought this book, Margaret Holzman's book, on Kindle a while back because it's like half price on Kindle. And of course you don't have to pay postage either for the book, but it's the Safe at Home blanket. Now this is definitely a scrap blanket. I'm not sure, but I think all the pieces are made separately and then sewn together. I would not do that. I would be picking up stitches and just attaching as I went for each house, which then makes a square. Because if you look, each sort of house, it has the house, the doors, the windows, the roof, and then the sky on either side of the roof. All that forms one square. So you could, make lots and lots of squares and then just join them all together. I think this could look equally nice. My voice would look equally nice if you put even a blank square in between. That would sort of break up the hard work of it in the sense of having to make all those little, not little, but make up all those squares. But that is another one that is in my Ravelry list. Again, I'll put that in the description. And finally, for the cable knitters, of which I'm sort of one, I do enjoy cable knitting, I've got this one, and it's called the Celtic Traveller Throw. It looks like it's got a moss stitch border on it. This is knit in Aran, which is probably standard for when you're doing cable work. Once again, I would probably go for an 8-ply, just simply because I prefer 8-ply. But it is, and I don't end up with a smaller blanket, I'm aware of that, and then that would be fine too, because I would actually just use it as a baby blanket or something else. Now, I did say I had started one of them. I've started doing the Foxtail, which is the one with the dark blue and the light blue. Now, I had started it, and then I had to unpick it all, because, oh dear, now I'm all tangled up. Maybe I shouldn't show you. Maybe that's not such a great idea. I mean, I've literally only just cast on and done the setup rows. But I had to cast on 315 stitches, I think. And you can just sort of see how long it is. So it's going to be a very, very wide blanket, although with the brioche that will gather a fair bit. So it won't be, I mean, it's arm span now. It'll probably be a little bit smaller than that once it gathers. But I'm doing this in a grey and a red, simply because, and I'll just show you if it will. Simply because I was going to do it in black and red, but I'm making, when I get the measurements, whenever you ask kids to do something for you, do you ever have the problem where they delay? And then I say, well, look, if you really don't want me to make it, I understand. I'm not going to have my feelings hurt. Just say you don't want me to make this thing, and I won't. And they're like, no, we want it. We've just been busy. Okay. Yeah, well, so I'm waiting on measurements. But the black that I was going to use for this will now be going in between my rainbow colours, because I will be making a black and rainbow coloured hexagon bolero for one, and a hexagon cardigan with long sleeves for the other. They both decided that they do want that, but they just want them in different sort of things. So yeah, 315 stitches. More than that when you count the fact that you've got all these yarn overs for the brioche stitches. So yeah, looking forward to getting on with that. Was going to say something, just completely lost it. But that's 10 blankets. Once again, these are just things that I find when on my low energy days. I found 40 blankets in all, 40 patterns in all so far. You've seen the 10 knit blankets, the 10 crochet blankets was on the 4th, 7 days ago. And I've got some other patterns coming up. Both, one we knit, one will be crochet, just to sort of keep it balanced in that sense. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope, I did try and make it a lot quicker this time, because I realized after I uploaded it, I thought, my goodness, it's 45 minutes long. This is ridiculous. So I've made it a lot shorter, giving you less information, but you can still find all the information for all the patterns. They will be in order of the actual that I've shown them down below in the description box, in case you're interested in doing any of the patterns and joining me. lifelines, that's probably what I was going to say. I'm going to have a lot of lifelines on this blanket. I think probably every 20 or so rows I'm going to have to put a lifeline in. If you don't know what a lifeline is, I have done a tutorial on lifelines and explaining what they all are and all that stuff. I'm also going to start doing some smaller blankets, whether they're black blankets, baby blankets, using some of the stitches that I've shown you in both knit and crochet. So keep an eye open for that. But until next time, thank you for watching. Thumbie, please. Share. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. You don't want to miss the patterns that are coming up. They're really very varied. I know with the knitting one, I do tend to really love brioche because it's reversible. And if it's a blanket, you want reversible. So yeah. Anyway, goodbye. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.